Doing out there today? This is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy, and we're here to present you our NBA Live segment for Wednesday, January 23rd. If you're new to this channel, please make sure to click the subscribe button below. This way you can watch all of our NBA, NFL, and MLB videos. If you haven't came and checked out our website here at dfscheatsheet.com, you're absolutely missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily Fanduel and DraftKings cash lineups, and we're truly a one-stop shop for all your DFS needs. So make sure to come check out the site here at dfscheatsheet.com. So hey, what's up, Jeremy? How you doing out there, man?
Yo, man, there's a lot of news, and you need to pay attention to what's going on. Late breaking stuff right now, man. There's a lot that's broke, and there's a lot to break still. We need Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid news. We got news on Jimmy Butler that he's out. We got news that Nene will not play today. Kenneth Faried will start. Right. We mentioned Faried on the shoot-around video a little while ago.
That's somebody. It's funny. That was going to be my first question I was going to ask you about was Faried before they even announced that he was starting, because he was popping up in a lot of our projections. So I'm like, what is going on? And then literally as I was clicking to go live on this video, the news did come out. Kenneth Faried will start in place of Nene. I mean, realistically, what do you think about Kenneth Faried? Do you think he's almost a lock for your cash game, that 5,000 going against the Knicks? Or what is your thoughts on Kenneth Faried?
Look, I absolutely love Kenneth Faried when he plays against the Clippers. You could take a look at his game logs against the Clippers. Other than that, obviously they're not playing the Clippers tonight. But other than that, Kenneth Faried was a monster early in his career in Denver. He has not had an opportunity to play solid minutes in 2 years. He just hasn't. So he's starting tonight. That's great. Nene, not playing and not being available, it definitely opens up minutes. But what we've seen Houston do is play small. So how much Faried we're going to get tonight, that remains to be seen. If he was a minimum value $3,500 play, I would tell you 100% lock him in. It's an upside play, allows you to pay up. But let's take a look at the price point. We talked about value earlier in our earlier video. And what you need is value out of your spots. And that doesn't change, right? You need production. You have to get to a certain value. And we know 5, 6, 7x is what you need. 5 in cash, 6+ in tournaments to win a tournament, right? So can he get you 25 tonight? Yes, he can. Is he the best play at that price point? You take a look at a Paul Millsap, Bobby Portis. There's other guys in this same spot that are starting as well and going to play similar minutes. So this comes down to who you think has the best opportunity at this price point to get you value. I'm not quite sure he's a lock in cash for value, but from a ownership standpoint, I expect, with him starting at 5,000, people are going to jump all over him.
And one thing I just quickly do want to bring up is when he was playing the other night, and him and James Harden, they had that good little pick and roll kind of action going. I forgot what they said. I think it may have been on the USA team, but Kenneth Faried and James Harden at some point, they did play together before, and they had a really good pick and roll kind of action when they played before. And then the other night, you kind of seen that a little bit before the game turned into a blowout. So I just did quickly want to mention that they did play before together outside of this, so there is some chemistry there already.
Yeah.
So another guy that you brought up, actually, we'll stick in the power forward spot. I think this is one of the tougher spots on the slate. You talked about with the Paul Millsaps, with the Farieds. You're telling me that a guy in Portis for the Bulls, he's going to go lower owned, and a lot of people are not really going to be on him. I actually played him the past 2 slates. So give me your opinion on why you really like Portis tonight.
Because, look, Bobby Portis is a mismatch for what Atlanta brings to the table in their front court, right? So let's just take a look at 5-on-5. Let's just go to that matchup real quick here, and let's take a look at 5-on-5, who you're going to get, right? So we don't see Bobby Portis projected to start. I haven't seen the Bulls starting lineup come out. So when Bobby Portis comes in the game, it's going to be –
They're saying – sorry, not to interrupt you. Just they're saying that Robin Lopez is going to start again today. So Portis will be coming off the bench.
Exactly. So Portis is going to come off the bench. We know Portis is going to play, if he plays off the bench, between 17 and 25 minutes, depending on how the game flow goes. Let's take a look at who Portis is going to be playing against. You move Tyron Prince to the starting lineup, take him out of the equation. So you also have a Bimbre, who's an athletic. Prince and Bimbre and Collins are the 3 guys on that team that closely that have the similar skill set to a Bobby Portis. When Bobby Portis comes off the bench and enters the game, he's going to be playing maybe against one or two, if not zero of those guys I just mentioned. He's going to be playing against the likes of Omari Spellman, Jeremy Lin, Alex Lynn, and so on. So from that standpoint, he is probably the best skill guy when he comes off the bench and enters the game, because you're not going to have him on the floor with all three of those guys at the same time, where Bobby Portis can do different things. He can play the perimeter and knock down the three, the perimeter jump shot. He can knock down the elbow jump shot. He can get you putbacks, rebound, etc. So if Bobby Portis is the first guy to come off the bench, and let's say he comes in for Robin Lopez, and he is playing in the game with Collins, Prince, and Bimbre, you have to like the fact that you've got a Chandler Hutchinson, a Lauri Markkanen, and a Zach LaVine to space the floor for a Bobby Portis against those guys in the perimeter, creating a mismatch opportunity. I think Bobby Portis is a really good rebounder against a really bad defensive team. You saw, go back to Monday, and you saw what happened in the Orlando Magic game. They really struggled to rebound the basketball against Orlando, and all they really had in that game was Vucevic, right? Aaron Gordon was out. They had Jonathan Isaac, Jonathan Simmons. They had Fournier. They had Terrence Ross. All those guys were getting rebounds against Atlanta. So you have to like this matchup for Bobby Portis at 5.4.
Yeah, man. So, I think honestly, the inevitable, it is what it is. I think that pretty much it's going to be Terry Rozier. It's going to be Van Fleet. It's going to be almost locked into everybody's point guard spots on FanDuel. Would you agree with that?
In cash?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's where it's going to start. It's going to start with, it's really going to start with probably three guys in cash. It's going to start with Rozier, Van Vliet, and probably Aaron Baines. That's probably where it's going to start. Yeah,
no, for sure. I absolutely agree. It's like sometimes you can pay.
Here's the deal when you try to build lineups tonight, right? So a guy that everybody likes that's been playing at a really high level, has a really decent matchup tonight, is Tobias Harris, right? Tobias Harris has a really good matchup against Miami, and you take a look at why. Tobias Harris, much more athletic than a Bam, much more athletic than Olynyk, much more athletic than a James Johnson, a better skill set than a Justice Winslow, a better skill set than basically everybody they've got. He is a mismatch for, right? So it's a good matchup. He's playing small forward. What does that mean? Mirotic is a guy who's going to probably be really chalky as well. So when you build tonight, you've got to take a look at the four places you have this to put, and the core of this is going to come down to who's your shooting guard 2, who are you playing at small forward with Mirotic, and who are you loading up at power forward, and how are you doing that? So are you paying down to get a Bobby Portis, a Kenneth Faried, a Paul Millsap, and those guys, and avoiding a Siakam, Ibaka in good spots, Aaron Gordon at 6,800, those $6,500 to $7,000 players? Are you paying for them and paying down at small forward, or are you paying up at small forward to get Mirotic with somebody else and paying down at power forward? That's really the way this day is going to shape up, because in cash, the rest of it's really pretty chalky.
Yeah, bro. What are you doing? What are you doing with the whole Philadelphia situation?
So look, the problem we have here obviously is that's a 5 o'clock game on the West Coast. It's an 8 o'clock game on the East. It's the second to last lock time on the slate. We might not know. Philadelphia has been really good at giving us news, before lock. You cannot play Philadelphia if you don't know what's going on, and they've already ruled Butler out. To me, it looks like they're just holding on, and these guys may be closer to playing than not playing.
Did they already rule Butler out? I didn't see that news.
They did rule Butler out, and at the same time, they said that Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid were still questionable. Embiid, I had not seen all day on the injury report until that injury update. But Embiid, look, Embiid's been plagued lately with a very sore back, and he played through it against Indiana, and he played through it again against Houston. So, I would say that these guys are closer to playing right now than they are to not playing. But look, until this is a situation that tonight, you don't have to go get that exposure. You don't have to. Talk about Joel Embiid. There's plenty of value on the board at center. There's plenty of good spots where you don't need Embiid. He's not the clear-cut number one play at the center spot today for value. You take a look at point guard with Ben Simmons, right? Do you need Ben Simmons tonight? You do not need Ben Simmons. You've got Van Vliet, Terry Rozier. We talked about Chris Dunn. We talked about Kyle Lowry. We talked about Jamal Murray. Those are other guys to pay up for. You don't need Ben Simmons tonight. So there's no reason to have those guys in your lineup get caught, with them being out, or to really be waiting on news. Does it affect other value spots? Absolutely it does. If they're out, do we want to play a Reddick? Do we want to play, a Landry Shamet? Do we want to play a TJ McConnell? Yes, we do. But, let's take a look again at what you're getting. You've got JJ Redick, who's now no longer a shooting guard. He's on FanDuel. He's now a small forward. So if you're taking a look at small forwards, would you rather play Redick over Teron Prince, Mirotic, Tobias Harris, some of these other guys that are on the board? You probably don't want to play Redick over those guys, so you can rule him out. Okay, now TJ McConnell. Is McConnell a better play than Van Vliet and Rozier tonight? That to me, no, he's not. I don't need McConnell if I've got Rozier and I've got Van Vliet.
Yeah, no, I get you for sure. It's like, man, I wish that honestly the NBA had the rules like you tell me with NFL, where they have to have the injury news out, by a certain time. Because especially on FanDuel, DraftKings, I haven't really had a problem. Yahoo, I haven't really had a problem. You can sub out guys if they ended up, not playing. But on FanDuel, it's like, you can take the risk on Joel Embiid at 10.8, and yeah, if he plays, he's in an awesome spot. But if
what? The thing is, to me, bro, is this FanDuel, FanDuel's missing the boat. And if you follow us on Twitter, I attack FanDuel all the time, and I do. And they're missing the boat. And it's not because, I got screwed and lost, $600 tonight because I played DeMar DeRozan in 40% of my lineups and he got late scratched. No, that's not the reason. The reason is, and this is where the late swap really took place, right? This is what made it big, and this is why it's such a debate, because good players 3 years ago would and this is actually a little history on it quickly, why FanDuel brought late swap for NFL in. It's because DraftKings, right? So you would always put somebody in your flex spot on DraftKings for NFL and building a lineup that was in the late game. You didn't want anybody in an early game in your flex spot. The reason is, if your lineup went off and you were going up a leaderboard, you wanted to look at the guys in front of you and see who they had. And if all of you had the same guy, then you needed to get off the person in your flex spot and find somebody else that nobody else owned so you can move up the leaderboard. So what did FanDuel do to compete? They brought late swap with NFL, right? Boom, they got it. Okay. The late swap has literally zero to do with players being in, players being out. That's the skill part that they put up to you. You need to figure that out. So they're having a hard time when people complain that somebody gets scratched and it's out of nowhere. They're going to say, that's just part of it. Well, it's not, right? They're missing the boat with late swap because it's an element of skill that furthers their argument that this is a game of skill and not a game of chance. And when they leave it open for players to be late scratched out of nowhere with no news, where nobody with skill would have played Anthony Davis as a drop spot play at 12,800 if they had any news he was not playing, that's not skill, that's chance. And that ruins their argument.
Yeah. No, I definitely think that if FanDuel doesn't, get their head out of their ass and really, make the correct decision on late swap, I think it's going to hurt them, to be honest with you.
Is it going to hurt them in the long run? Probably not. And the reason it's not is because we all know NFL is the biggest sport. Right. And, I can't remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive there's late swap in MLB as well. The only sport that doesn't have late swap is the NBA.
Right. Yeah, no, there's FanDuel and in MLB. You're right. It doesn't make sense that every other sport has it but the one sport. It's really frustrating, to be honest with you. But yeah, man, let me check, see if we got any comments. So Dwayne Fortner said Adebayo at power forward is a lock. So I'm curious, Dwayne, why you think he's a lock. If you could give me a little bit more information on that.
I would tell you that for tournaments, he's a high exposure guy, and I will tell you exactly why. Let's just pop open Miami really quick and look at what's going on there against the Clippers. Same argument that you're making for a Bobby Portis with his skill set not matching where he's going to play. Take a look at a Bam, and he's going to come in the game, and who's he going to play against, right? If you take a look at last night, they played Jonathan Motley. They played Mike Scott. All came in off the bench. They played him that overlapped with Lou Williams, and they overlapped him with Patrick Beverly Galetas Alexander, and then mixed Harrell back in. So if you want to take a look at where a mismatch is in this game and a 5,500 price tag, it's Bam. And that's why I say you add this group of guys. There's two groups tonight. There's basically a 5,000 to 5,500 power forward group, and there's a 6,000 to kind of 6,800 power forward group. Where are you going to fall with your power forward spot? Are you going to take two of those guys and then pay up for small forward, or are you going to go balance across the board? That's really, to me, where tonight lies, is power forward and small forward with these two groups of guys.
And real quick, Embiid will play. Simmons will play tonight. Joel Embiid is still listed as a game time decision. Just came out, so I wanted to quickly update that for us.
So, I mean, that's kind of what I thought, with them not saying anything when they ruled Butler out, that these guys were closer to playing. And, to me, it's kind of just business as usual. Is it an ideal matchup for Joel Embiid? I mean, LaMarcus Aldridge is no slouch, but, can he defend Joel Embiid one-on-one for 35 minutes tonight? No, he absolutely cannot.
What do you I want to go back to one more thing. What do you think? We talked about this quickly earlier. What do you think about Blake Griffin?
I like Blake Griffin tonight, and the reason why I like Blake Griffin tonight is because of the fact that their implied total is high, right? I believe their implied total is 109. Is that right? Their implied total is 109.25, and it's a 4-point spread. So you take a look at that, and you take a look at the percentage of offense that Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond eat up, right? And they're more than 50% of their entire offense. So if you just kind of let's just use 50%. You're looking at, 57, 58 points, 58.13 points, if you want to round it up. Actual points are going to go between, so just give them, split it and say they get 25 points each. Well, I mean, Blake Griffin right now is averaging 29.6, so that's kind of close to his average, right? And, now we're talking about rebounds. You got a Okafor and a Julius Randle, and can Blake Griffin play and get rebounds in there with those guys? Can Drummond dominate in that situation? So I really do like both these guys, like I mentioned on the video. And it's for the simple fact, if this game and Detroit's implied total was down, 99, 101, something like that, I wouldn't like it as much. But Vegas clearly thinks that there's going to be no defense played at all in this game. And a lot of that has to do with the fact this game is somewhat scary to me as well, because I've said all year that the Pistons have a really hard time with really good perimeter players. And you could take a look back at game logs of guys who have eaten them alive. DeRozan, all these perimeter players have eaten these guys alive. This is what New Orleans is right now. They're a perimeter basketball team. They've got three good perimeter players on the floor, and then Okafor will eat it up. And Julius Randle's a mid-game player, really good mid-game. They have really good spacing, and I could see an Etuan Moore, an Elfrid Payton, a Drew Holiday having a really big game tonight.
Real quick, the homie Say Less jumped in the chat. What do you? He's saying that Zizic is a lock tonight with no Al Horford for the Celtics.
I think that is. So let me ask you a question then. Are you telling me that Zizic has a better chance of getting 54 as opposed to Baines getting 37?
Yeah,
that would be my question to you.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm still deciding what I'm going to do with the center position, to be honest. There's some really good plays. You can even look at a guy like, he's going to be more of a GPP play, but, a guy like I'm even intrigued by, you can look at Jahlil Okafor at the center spot if he's going to play a bunch of minutes. So, I mean, I'm really kind of, Kanter. We talked about Kanter earlier. Zizic, you can look at, Embiid if you want.
The only thing I'll give Say Less on that spot is the fact that there are zero big men for Cleveland besides Zizic at 5.4. It's a 15-point spread. If this game goes the way Vegas says it's going to go and it blows out, Zizic has safe minutes. But that is also the same could be said about everybody else in play for Cleveland. Like I mentioned before, I mentioned Jordan Clarkson, I mentioned Rodney Hood, I mentioned Alec Burks. Their minutes are going to be somewhat safe. They don't have a lot of players. They got 5 players that are not playing. Nwaba's another guy who's not playing. So when you turn around and look at Boston side of it, if it does blow out, how much run does Aaron Baines actually get? When do they go to Robert Williams? Because Robert Williams is another guy that I think is extremely interesting with Al Horford out, and the guy that will probably be 1% owned tonight, who, if this game does blow out or Aaron Baines gets in foul trouble, Robert Williams is coming in, and Robert Williams is going to get big minutes tonight.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with you. It's like, whew, I'm deciding the center spot is what I'm really having trouble on more than anything else right now. To be honest with you, I got a couple more things I need to look into.
What does that 17? That's the thing you have to ask yourself though. That 1700, what does it get you at a different spot, right? So the first question you have to ask yourself is, okay, from a 6x standpoint, right? You need
just really quick. I do want to say I definitely think that Zizic gives us a lot higher floor points per dollar than Baines. To be honest with you.
I disagree.
Yeah, that's just my personal thing. Is I just like you said, Boston, they do have some guys that could come off the bench compared to I feel like where Zizic, he's gonna have to play close to 30 minutes. That's what he's been playing. Baines, I mean, we've played him a couple of times already, and one or two times he paid off, and there's a couple of times that he was chalking, he absolutely busted. So, but hey,
starting for Horford, let's just look at his player log. 23 minutes in a blowout against Atlanta, 32.8, right? That's that he started for Horford there. You could take a look again in the start for Horford against Memphis, 22 minutes, 25.9. The guy's a point per minute fantasy player, and he's starting, right? So this is the question you have to ask yourself. It's two of them. That $1,700 difference I'm going to pay, what can I do with it? Or is there enough value on the board where the Zizic play doesn't matter? And to me, when you're talking about small forward and power forward really being the spots tonight, I would rather take the free square with Baines and the upside he brings and the floor. Baines is good. Baines has an 18 floor tonight. That's his floor, 18. Okay. Well, that's 6x. That's just about 6x. So 6x on Zizic is over 30. You need 32.4 to get 6x out of Zizic. Who has the better opportunity, and what do you do with the savings?
All right. I get you. I definitely get you. It makes sense for sure. Yeah, man. So I mean, that's really where I'm at with this slate, man. Let me check it out. See if we got anybody in the comment section. If not, I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready to kind of get out of here. Say less thinks it doesn't blow out. I honestly don't think that game necessarily going to be a blowout neither. But Boston does have some really good pieces that could definitely make this game blow out. As far as some injury news, we still got some news that we got to wait on. I hope that we kind of touched on, some things that you guys were, you guys were curious about, etc. Real quick, Dwayne Fortner asked me, do I rather go Bam or do I rather go Kenneth Faried? I definitely rather go with Kenneth Faried going against the Knicks in a start and roll. I think that game's going to be pretty high scoring.
I'll take Bam.
You're taking Bam? Okay, so that's what it is. You're taking Bam. I'm taking Faried. I think it could go either way. It's just really going to depend on the minutes. Yeah, man, I think that's about it. So if you got anything else to say, Jay, feel free to hit it real quick. If not, I'm about ready to get out of here and get these lineups done.
The Memphis game will start on time. They had a fire in the locker room, and there was some questions about the Memphis game. Maybe nobody even knew that, but I just wanted to put that out there as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, hey, thank you guys very much for checking out this video, coming in, chilling with us, and just talking some basketball, some daily fantasy sports. Love helping you guys out, getting answering you guys' questions, and just coming on these videos and just chilling with you guys, man. We'll be back, in the morning, breaking down to tomorrow's slate. We will try to see if we can get one of these videos done as well. Thank you very much for checking out this video, and good luck on your guys' contest tonight, all right? Peace out.